If you're sick and tired of losing weight, but you just can't seem to keep it off, then I'm going to show you exactly how to keep it off for good. This is something that I really used to struggle with. When I first went to lose weight back in 2019, I lost weight very, very quickly. I went from 95 down to 84 kilos in about 8 weeks. And I thought, this is absolutely class. This is unreal. And I'm going to be able to stick to this. But a few months later, I'd regained 5-6 kilos. I had no idea what was going on. And I went to go and lost weight again. The exact same thing happened. I lost weight. When I went back to my normal eating habits, I genuinely thought I was broken. I thought my metabolism was completely tanked. And I convinced myself that I was just not built to be in shape. And I'm sure you've probably convinced yourself that you are completely broken, but you are not broken. Your approach is. Take my client Christian, for example. When he first started, he'd gone through cycles of losing weight, then regain it back and losing weight. And he was fed up with that constant cycle of losing the same 10 kilos over and over again. And before, in the past, he'd done all the fad diets, intermittent fasting, the keto diet, doing it all aggressive, non-aggressive. He tried absolutely everything, but nothing seemed to be working for him. He just couldn't be consistent, and he couldn't consistently hit this long term. And he thought, like myself and everyone else, that he was broken. This is where we change the approach. The real reason why this does not work is because it's really extreme. In the short term, it really works to drop weight really, really quickly, but it gets to a certain point where you hate it that much and you can't actually stick to it, that you just go back to your old ways of living. Because I know I've definitely been there and telling people, I hate this diet, I can't wait for this diet to be over. They are the same people that lose 5-10 kilos and then regain it straight away back again, because it's too extreme. It's not sustainable. This is where there needs to be an identity shift. And that's the first thing you need to do. You need to look at what you're currently doing right now and not go, how can I flip my diet on my head? How can I flip my life on my head? That is why it becomes very unsustainable. Because going from eating 200 to 300 grams of carbs to eating 0 grams of carbs, that is very extreme. And there's not any wonder it works. It works very, very well for the short term. But you never speak to someone that says, I've been eating keto for 3 years and I feel the best I ever have. It just doesn't happen. So what you do is you make small changes. For example, you take a look at your diet right now and you go, how can I make this a little bit better? Can I add a little bit of fruit in here? Can I add a little bit of veg in here? Can I swap this one food for something that's a little bit better? For example, if you're constantly drinking sugar drinks, swap to 0-calorie drinks, likes of your Diet Cokes, your Coke Zeros, and then you can weed on to likes of your water, your juices to make it 10 times better. But if you went straight from, I'm having absolutely 0 sugar, cutting out all sugar, and I'm just going straight to water, that's going to work for a couple of weeks. And then it's not going to work because it's unsustainable. You can't stick to it. And you've gone from 0 to 100. Now that's actually gonna help getting the weight off in the first place. But what keeps the weight off for good is what I'm gonna explain in the next one. One of the reasons why people lose weight and regain it so quickly is because they go from eating hardly any food, really cutting their calories really, really low, to then obviously overeating. And they get into this constant cycle where they're restricting their calories, then they're overeating, then they're restricting, then they're overeating. Over the course of maybe a few years or maybe even a few months, their body weight is fluctuated up and down over the last 4 months, and their body has not a clue what is going on. So what you need from here is some stabilization. The reverse diet is one of the most important things to start doing. Where most people go wrong is where they go finish the diet, they're on 1900 calories, and then they go firing back up to where they were beforehand, eating 3,000 calories plus. And that's why their weight is going up and down, and they have this problem with restrict, binge, restrict, binge. But if you have a structured reverse diet, then that makes life 10 times easier. So if you have lost weight and you want to keep it for good, this is where this next 6 weeks are going to be absolutely vital for you doing that. Over the next 6 weeks, I want you to do this exact thing. I want you to slowly increase your calories by 80 to 150 per week, adding in more carbs, I'd say 25 grams of carb on a training day and then 10 grams of fats on a rest day. Making sure these foods are coming from high quality protein sources, foods high in fiber as well that are going to keep you fuller for longer, and mostly leaning into the 80-20 rule, where 80 to 90% of your food is coming from whole single ingredients and the other 20% coming from whatever you kind of want. Then over the 6 weeks, you're going to be in a much better spot where 1, you're eating more calories, 2, your energy is up, 3, your energy in the gym is going to be unbelievable and you're going to be performing a lot better, getting stronger in each session. And the chances are in that 6 weeks, you could have gone up 5, 6, 7, 800 calories more per day and you're weighing the exact same amount or even less sometimes. And your body's going to be under much less stress and it's going to be in such a better position to then keep the weight off for good. So these are the things you can do from today to keep that weight off for good. Focus on eating high fiber, high protein meals, prioritizing 30 to 40 grams in each meal of protein and aiming for 30 to 40 grams of fiber each day. I've also found swapping my carb sources has been very, very good. Not completely cutting out carbs because like I've said, that is completely unsustainable, but just finding foods that work for you better. Because for me, for example, when I eat the likes of the white potato, white rice, white bread, my energy levels are up and down throughout the day. I'm unable to manage my appetite. So since making a swap to sweet potato, whole whole wheat rice, sourdough bread. That has been an absolute game changer for me for maintaining my appetite and even just keeping the weight off for good. And you might think, that Jack, that is very overwhelming. I don't know if I can actually do that. Well, to fix this, you set your own bar. Set minimum standards for you each day that you can actually stick to. For example, instead of going, I'm gonna hit my protein target every single day, 7 days throughout the week. If you're currently sitting and you're hitting your protein target 2 days a week, aim for 3 to 4 days a week where you hit your protein target, then build yourself up from there. Or instead of saying to yourself, I'm gonna go from 2,000 steps up to 12,000 steps, which is another 10,000 steps in there, it's completely unrealistic to do over a short period of time. Start by adding in an extra 2K. So going from 2K up to 4K. And then over the next couple of weeks, you can increase it nice and slow, because this then creates momentum. And momentum over a longer period of time creates consistency, and consistency creates results. Now let's just say you're doing very, very well for a couple of weeks, and then one day things go a little bit wrong. This is where a lot of people will throw in the towel and go, oh, this isn't working. And let's be real, life isn't like that. There's gonna be curveballs thrown at you, there's gonna be stuff going on, social events. You'll be busy, family life. You'll be very, very busy. You might have kids as well. And things are never gonna run 100% smooth. This is exactly what to do when things do start to go a little bit wrong. So when things start to go a little bit wrong, the first thing I want you to do is identify the trigger. Identify why it went wrong, what went wrong, and why it actually happened. Then you can then look into that and go, right, now we need to try and make sure that doesn't happen again. I have no issue with people making mistakes, because honestly, I make mistakes all of the time. And so does everyone, because they are human beings. It's never gonna be perfect. But the problem comes when people just make the same mistakes over and over and over again. But if you identify what went wrong, why it went wrong, you can put things in place and plan things in place to make it so it doesn't happen again. Or even if you can cope with it a little bit better. Let's just say you have a big project at work that needs to be done, but you still wanna have your fitness goals on top of that to be able to hit every single day. Maybe in the past when you had something big coming on like that, you would neglect everything that's going on in your life. The gym goes in the bin, the diet goes in the bin, and things just go to complete shit in your personal life. Instead of going from there where things are completely in the shit to over here where things are absolutely amazing every single time, maybe you were doing 4 days a week before and then a massive work thing hit, but then you hit 2 gym sessions a week, which before you never would have done. That is progress, because you're coping better than you did last time. Then every single time a life event comes up or something gets in the way and you cope a little bit better than you did last time, then that is progress. Another thing you can start doing is reconnecting with your why. Why do you want to get in shape? That's going to be a main driver, and it's been a main driver for me for a long time on why I've wanted to get into shape and how I've been able to stay in shape. Because just getting in shape to look good on Instagram or to look good for a certain person, that isn't good enough, because that isn't going to get you up in the morning and get you to the gym when you can't be fucked going. The deeper the why, the easier the how. And one rule that I live by and my clients also live by is not having 2 bad meals in a row. So let's say you're going out for dinner with friends or dinner with family. This is where a lot of people would kind of go, oh, I don't want to ruin my progress. Your progress is not going to be ruined over one meal. It's going to be over a certain amount of days, over a certain amount of weeks of having them off meals, of having them not looking after your diet. But the speed of you getting back on track is going to be the determining factor on whether or not you see results or not. Because if you go out for that meal and then that next meal you then have a good meal, in your head psychologically you've got that mindset that you're now back on track. Because a lot of people have that mentality where they're really good throughout the week, they get to the weekend and then it falls off and then, oh, I'll start again Monday. When if they went out for the meal, the next day, that first meal, make sure it's a good, healthy, nutritious meal. And then just you feel 10 times better about yourself and everything's back to kind of normal again. It's so important to remember it's not about restriction all of the time. You do need to think about who you're becoming along the way, not just how much you weigh. No one walks around with the scales and go around asking, oh, weigh yourself there and tell me how much you weigh. No one cares about that. But if you become the person that it does eat healthy, that can go out and enjoy themselves while being able to stay in shape, then that's gonna be 10 times better than, oh yeah, I weighed an extra kilo when I woke up on the scales the next morning. And this is where you just need to keep showing up, even when it's not perfect, and it's not gonna be perfect all of the time. Because when you do show up, when life is not perfect, this creates momentum. And when you get momentum over a long period of time, this is where consistency really comes in. And it becomes then part of your lifestyle. And when it's a part of your life, it becomes a lot easier to kind of do every single day. Because it isn't just, I have to do this. It's this, I don't feel right unless I do this, where you get fitness to complement your life, not complicate it. And if you're someone that is like me and struggle with this thing, or the same as my client, then don't hesitate to share your experience in the comments. Or if you're not comfortable with that, I'm more than happy to send me a message on Instagram. My link will be in the bio. I'm more than happy to talk through things and help people out in even more detail. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed that video, and spread this video to more people that you think would benefit from this.